Welcome everybody to this, our visually impaired participant and mobility impaired participant Zoom session for Ski for Light. We have the honor of having Jim Denham with us tonight. He's going to be our tech guru. So he's going to be in control of muting and unmuting, in addition to your own controls of Alt-A to mute and unmute yourself. So if we can have everything muted so we can hear whoever's speaking at the time, that's great. We will have a time at the end of the session for questions and answers, and Jim will be able to help call on people who have raised hands, which is Alt-Y, I believe. So I'm going to start by just doing some brief introductions of the three of us that will be helping facilitate this program tonight. And then I'm going to play a really cool audio file that will kind of get us all in the mood for Ski for Light. And then we're going to talk just a little bit in general for those that are brand new to our group about what Ski for Light is, what it's kind of all about in a nutshell. Then Tim's going to tell us a little bit more about our event in Granby that we're all excited for. And then we're going to talk about what you can do to get ready physically. And Marion's going to offer a very nice opportunity for you. And then we're going to have Sherry remind us what you need to pack. And then we'll open it up for questions and answers about everything. So why don't we start with Tim, if you do a brief introduction.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome. My name is Tim Mccorkle, and I'm the president of Ski for Light. And I'm excited to have you on tonight. And I do want to say that it's been exciting just to see the enthusiasm from our community in terms of the number of applications that we've gotten this year. We're closing in on the same number of applications from visually impaired and mobility impaired skiers that we had in 2019 and then in 2020 in Casper. So the enthusiasm from skiers is great. We're also seeing our guide numbers pick up. So I think we'll get a good number of guides, and in the end, we'll probably be able to have most of the people attend the event that really want to attend the event. So that's really exciting from my part. Plans are going well with Snow Mountain Ranch. I talked to the public health people this week in Grand County, and they said, well, the number of cases of COVID is ticking up in Grand County. He assured, well, not assured me, he was confident that we'll be able to have our event. I talked to him about our COVID plans, and he was really favorable by the fact that we're requiring all of our participants to be vaccinated. So invited participants, volunteers, and evening entertainers will have to show proof of vaccination. So that's one of our primary guards against transmitting the virus. So he was really enthused with our plan, and he's also very positive about Snow Mountain Ranch and their ability to host events. They've been doing so pretty successfully since mid-summer last year, and he did speak positively about their plans and preparations, so that gave me a great deal of confidence. The planning committee is working very strongly together to put the plans in place for a successful event, and we'll have many of the same programs that we do at our normal event. So we'll have the silent auction. I'm not going to give away all the evening programs, but we will have some sort of evening program going on every evening. Where the number of people that are asking to present a special interest session in the afternoon, it's a fantastic testament to the variety of interests we have in our community, and I think Karen is going to have a great lineup of special interest sessions each throughout the week. So I'm excited. We unfortunately had the year off, but I think the enthusiasm for Ski for Light did not wane. In fact, I think it might have even grown. So that's a testament to you all here tonight and to your enthusiasm for Ski for Light and for spreading it to the people you know. So
Tim, thank you for that that description of kind of the event for this year. I'm gonna just kind of go out of order now and just kind of back it up then and talk about Ski for Light in general, because we have some very first timers on this call and some, oh, I've been there a million times people too. But Ski for Light is, as you all know, you wouldn't have signed up for, but it's an all volunteer nonprofit organization that this will be our 47th year here in the United States. It is designed after a program that started in Norway over 50 years ago. And it was brought here to the US starting in Colorado. The event moves around every year to a different location in the United States, which affords people the opportunity to travel. We usually have around 200 to sometimes 300 participants come to Ski for Light. And just so you know, we use these terms just to differentiate people, not to label people, but we have the visually impaired participants, the mobility impaired participants, we have guides, and we have volunteers and worker bees. They are finally called others. And we refer to the VIPs and the MIPs as skiers and the guides as guides. That's a little misleading because the guides are skiing also, but that's just terms we use so you can help understand the difference. So Tim, as you know, is our president this year for Ski for Light. My name is Melinda Hollins, and I am helping out with publicity and visually impaired participant recruitment. And then we have Sherry Richardson with us, who is the visually impaired participant applications coordinator. So some of you, all of you will at least recognize her name from sending you the invitation. So Sherry, if it's okay for you, we'll just have you step in a little bit and talk more about what to wear and what other deadlines are coming up. But before we do that, I want to play this, or have Jim play this audio file. This audio file is prepared by our own Andrea Goddard, who was going to be on the call tonight, so she might be here. Andrea skis in a sit ski and is also visually impaired. So she helped the publicity team out by recording this this audio, which kind of is how things might feel your very first morning at Ski for Light. So try and imagine yourself on the snow outside, getting ready to go. It's Monday morning, and go ahead and play it, Jim, and let your mind go.
The winter air is crisp. The sun goes in and out this morning, and each time the clouds part, you feel its warmth through your layers of long underwear, shirt, vest, and jacket. What are you doing here? You, whose experience of winter sports is sitting at home in your most comfortable chair enjoying the Super Bowl and hoping the announcers are stellar because you can't exactly see the TV. Or maybe you are a Harry Potter fan and vicariously play Quidditch on a broomstick in a snowstorm. Either way, nothing has quite prepared you to be a long way from home, here with a group of people who were mostly strangers until yesterday, standing in boots that are mounted on two very skinny, long wooden sticks, and hoping to figure out how to propel yourself forward with only the aid of two disturbingly lightweight poles and the verbal instructions of your partner in crime, a sighted skier who will be your guide on the snow for an entire week. All around you, People move. The distinctive click of ski poles tapping against one another as someone picks them up out of the snow where they've rested as their owner applied sunblock or adjusted their cap. The muted jab and gliding swish that tell you the skier and guide ahead of you are off down the trail. Tracks are straight ahead, looking good, looking good. Tracks curving right, and straightening out. We are coming to a little bit of an uphill, so you tense with anticipation as the sound of their skiing recedes. That's gonna be me in a minute, you realize, wondering whether you're up for this. You ready to go? Your guide asks, and you gulp and say, yes. For the first little while, it seems like absolutely everyone is not only skiing by you, but is positively flying down the trail, calling out as they pass, happily greeting you by name and saying their own as well. Although you are largely focused on staying upright, everyone's open-hearted enthusiasm takes the chill right out of the air and has you smiling even as you work to maintain your balance on the snow. You ski on and suddenly realize that you've been climbing a gentle hill for some moments. You stop, turning your head toward where your guide has stopped beside you. Together, you start to laugh at exactly the same moment. In that instant, you know that your guide is not here for you as much as here with you. Also, you've just skied up that hill without falling. Or perhaps you don't have great use of your legs and have decided to try sit skiing for the first time. You've transferred from your wheelchair to this low seat on a tubular metal frame that's mounted to a pair of Nordic skis. As you and your guide go about securing your waist strap, the one that goes over your legs above the knee, and the one that helps to hold your ankles in place, you work to sit as upright as possible. With your legs bent at the knee, but mostly straight out in front of you, your guide shows you how to double pole. For you, skiing will be all about using your upper body and your core muscles to push yourself forward and to stay upright. Although the first uphill of the trail has you gritting your teeth as you work not to slide backward, you know you are in good hands as you feel your guide brace the back of your ski and start a steady, light push that takes away some of the strain. Just when you think your shoulders and arms will go on strike, it happens. The trail levels off. Then your ski begins to pick up speed on that downhill your guide swore was coming. You sigh with relief as your shoulders loosen, lengthening your pull strokes to go even faster. Your laughter builds along with your momentum until you feel as though you are flying down the hill, still staying attentive to your guide's rapid, exacting instructions to lean left, lean a little right, straighten up. It's like riding a motorcycle. Okay, pick up your poles and just enjoy the ride.
Okay, is everyone back to reality now? I got goosebumps. I hope you all did too, and that they're out of excitement and not too much nervousness. I should have mentioned earlier too that Nicole Haley is our mobility impaired participant coordinator. She is not with us tonight, but she is available if there's any further questions. She has spoken to all of the MIPS who are signed up to come to Granby. So I don't know if any of you are on the line or not, but if you've got any more questions, we can hook you up with her. So Tim told you a little bit about our event in Granby, but I just kind of want to review what the week is like at Ski for Light, especially for those of you who have never been before. one ingredient that you need to be sure to bring with you is flexibility. Because you just never know what experience is going to be up there for you when you get to Ski for Light. We have an exciting week planned, and it stays pretty organized, but unexpected always happens. And this year, even though there are people that have been to Ski for Light many, many times, it's going to be a little different with the COVID precautions that we'll be taking. So everyone will be on a learning curve there. And we will do fine with that, because we all want this to be a safe and fun event. So most of you will be arriving at the Denver airport on Sunday, the 30th of January. So once you get off your plane and go find your bags and your skis, there will be a specific spot in the airport where Ski for Light people will meet. And you'll hear them, because when the Ski for Light people get together, it's always a lot of laughter and joy and chatting. So you won't be able to miss them. The bus will pick us up there and drive you to Granby. That ride is about 2.5 to 3 hours through the mountains. And then you will arrive at Snow Mountain Ranch. There will be a registration, just a line in the lobby of the hotel to get your packet for the week, which will include your schedule and your room key. Just for those that haven't been to Snow Mountain Ranch, we will be staying in 3 different lodges, because there isn't one that's big enough for all of us at once. And then we eat in a 4th lodge. So once you check in, and if you need help, someone will guide you to your room, get all settled. And then there often is a hospitality room that's set aside if you want to come and hang out before dinner to meet a couple new people. And then we'll meet in the dining lodge for dinner. And if you need help getting over there, you just kind of go to the lobby of your hotel, and there's often a train of people heading over there for dinner. After dinner, we will stay in the dining room and find out who our guide is going to be for the week. Dinner is always a time where there'll be announcements for the following day, and there'll also be announcements each morning at breakfast. And we will be having breakfast and dinner in the same building. So back to dinner Sunday night, you will announce yourself, and your guide will be, his name or her name will be announced, and they will look at you. And after all the introductions are done, they will come find you. And then that's when the fun begins. You get to talk about plans for what time you want to meet for breakfast to get going on skiing the next day. So Monday through Friday are pretty similar. Breakfast in the morning, and then you take off and go skiing. There are shuttle buses that drive the short distance to the Nordic Center, which is where the skiing starts. That first morning, some of you may need to rent skis, and so that'll be taken care of at that point in time. There are often training sessions for beginning skiers that are held right outside the Nordic Center. And so you'll be getting a schedule about what sessions are offered, so you and your guide can go to those or not, depending on what your level of experience is. Lunch is usually at the Nordic Center, so you take off and go ski for a while with your guide, and when you need a break, you can come back and have some lunch, and then you can head out again, and when you've had enough, you can take the shuttle back to your lodge. So late afternoons are open for whatever you want to do. Some people like a shower after they've been skiing. Some people are excited to go to special interest sections. And some people, like myself, need a nap. And all are fine. The special interest sessions, though, are a really fun way to get to know people and to hear different things that people are doing. Sometimes they're about different places people have traveled, or different hobbies or interests people have done. Sometimes it's about skiing, sometimes it's about other stuff, but you've seen just not the description of what we're doing yet this year, but the call for who would like to do a special interest session. So Karen Wood is putting that together, and those will be probably, I think there's 3 a day, Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't know the schedule but late afternoons. Then there'll be dinner, and after dinner is some type of entertainment, which Tim is keeping a secret for now. But there is one night, there's a silent auction so that we can use as a fundraiser for Ski for Light. Sometimes we have concerts. There's often a couple nights of dancing. We've had bounce houses in the past. We've had entertainers come in. Our Norwegian friends do a Norway night. So every night's a little something different. So those days are pretty similar, Monday through Friday-ish. Saturday's kind of the culmination of the week in the race rally. So the race and the rally are an opportunity to really enjoy your last day of skiing and give it all you got. So if you're competitive and you want to do a 10-kilometer race against other skiers, you and your guide can sign up for that. If you'd rather compete against yourself and just kind of challenge yourself to see how fast you could complete a 5K course, then you can choose to do that. All the skiers will start out at the same starting line and finish at the same finishing spot. And this is where you need to be sure to have Kleenex in your pocket, because they have flags from every country represented. And usually we have about 6 or 7 or 8 other countries. The national anthems are played. The skiers are lined up in pairs with their racing bibs on. And it's just a lot of energy, a lot of adrenaline to get you going and to finish up the ski week. We celebrate that evening with a banquet, which is a little bit dressier than the rest of the week. And we have a fantastic meal. And then we don't like to talk about Sunday, when we have to get up really early and get on the bus and go back to Denver and get on a plane and go back to your real world. So we don't spend much time talking about that. So that's kind of the week in a glance if you've never been before and want a little bit more details. So part of preparing for Ski for Light is being ready to do a lot of physical activity. And skiing is the major thing, but just kind of hanging out and being up and going to all these different events can get you going too. So it's best to be in as much physical shape as you can, because you'll be able to do more and enjoy more and hopefully not be injured. So we have several workout suggestions and videos that are on the Ski for Light website, which is sfl.org. And we have a VIP with us tonight who wants to make a special offer. So I'd like to turn it over to Marion for a few minutes if you want to share with people what you'd like to offer.
Oh, thank you, Melinda. This morning I went to the website and read the long page of information on Ski for Light about preparing physically for the week, and it was excellent. So I encourage everybody, no matter how many times you've gone, to go and read that. I was very fortunate when COVID started that I got a stationary bike and had a couple of friends from Ski for Light that were doing a Zoom spin group and that I started at the beginning of the COVID, and that has morphed into some workouts as well as spin. I do yoga with my ski guide from Canada and on Zoom. And I have found that if I don't have a scheduled class now, I'm spoiled, and I just have a hard time motivating myself to do exercise. So I wanted to offer to host 2 fitness sessions a week from now. Well, starting the week after Thanksgiving until we get together in January. So it's about 8 or 9 weeks to just help us get a little bit better prepared before we get there. And anybody can call in and join in whenever they want to for these classes. And we would be a little bit of warm up, some core and full body strength training, and then some stretching and cool down. And I'm envisioning a total of an hour, but about 45 minutes of actual exercise time. And the last 15 minutes can be kind of questions and suggestions and discussion. So the days and times that I have picked that fit into my schedule, and I was trying to think of East Coast, West Coast, because I'm on the East Coast time, is Thursday and Sunday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern time. So starting at 3 p.m. West Coast time, Pacific time. Didn't seem like there was a real perfect option. And I'm hoping by offering Sunday that some people might be able to make some of the sessions that couldn't come during the week. So that's what I'd like to do. And I'd like to just say too that this will hopefully benefit anyone who's interested, from couch potato to elite athlete, and any fitness or exercise or movement that you can do before Ski for Light is going to benefit you greatly when you get out on the snow. You'll enjoy it more, you'll feel better, you'll ski better, fall less. And so strongly encourage you to do whatever you can between now and the end of January. But I forgot to ask Sherry, but I think we can use the Ski for Light coordinator email to send out the Zoom link and my contact info if you have any questions. But it's really meant to be just a fun way to get together and get some fitness in.
Thank you, Marion. And speaking of Sherry, we can transition to her next, because my alarm is telling me it's 8:30. Okay, so Sherry's going to fill us in about what you need to bring.
All right.
Any other deadlines that people need to know?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. Thanks. So thank you, Melinda, and thank you, Marion, for your really great offer. I just encourage all of you and myself to take part in Marion's exercise class. I can tell you from personal experience, because I am far from being an athlete, that if you are more physically fit than maybe you normally are, you will enjoy skiing a lot more. And the other thing I will say is, Marion mentioned falling. Yes, falling happens to all of us. So that's something that, none of us should be overly afraid of. I just think that it's important to realize that's kind of part of what happens when you're skiing. Even skiers that are not novice skiers do fall from time to time. So that's just a reality. It's in soft snow, fortunately. That helps a lot. Okay, so I am Sherry, and I'm your Ski for Light visually impaired participant applications coordinator. I can't even say all of that title. It's crazy. Anyway, so all of you have heard from me, and I'm just super excited that so many of you are here tonight. So thank you for that. Talking about what to bring with you. The first thing is thinking about dressing what you want to wear. Colorado temperatures can vary quite a bit, but it's generally colder in Colorado than it is in, let's say, Texas, for example, or Florida or whatever. It's cold enough for snow, so you know it's going to be more than likely under 32 degrees. And sometimes it can be 0 degrees. So you want to dress in many thin layers. You want to bring with you you start with the sweat wicking underwear, top and bottom layer. And something like Polar Max works well, or there are lots of modern fabrics now that are very good sweat wicking fabrics. You definitely want to have at least 2 sets of your underwear, because you can wash them out by hand and hang them to dry, but they may or may not dry overnight. So you do want to at least bring 2 sets with you. The next layer might be a pair of running tights. If you're going to be a fast skier and you generate a lot of heat, that's probably a good choice. If you're a bit slower skier, you might want a pair of like fleece pants or lined wind pants. And then on the top part, you're going to want some sort of top over your underwear top, like a sweatshirt or something like that, or wool top or a fleece top. And then over that, and you can actually put a couple layers depending on how thick they are. Then after that, you want a wind or a rain shell. So if you have a heavier jacket that you plan to wear, like something that calls itself a ski jacket, then you will probably not need but one top between it and your underwear top most of the time. One really important thing to remember is to bring plenty of nice warm socks for skiing, since you're going to be wearing boots, so you're going to want, thicker wool socks preferably. It's best not to use cotton for any of your clothing, because someone needs to mute. Thanks. So cotton does not pull the sweat away from your skin. It holds the moisture in. So that's why cotton is not recommended. Someone needs to mute. I'm not sure who that is.
I'm going through and just muting
Okay.
folks.
Thanks.
I can't tell where
I
the
know
noise
it's
comes
really
from.
hard to tell sometimes. Thanks, Julie.
Yeah.
So yeah, wool socks, or if not wool, then some form of acrylic. You need a hat, whatever kind of warm and or waterproof hat you like to wear. Sometimes we have a funny hat or crazy hat day. So I don't know if that's planned this year or not, but maybe somebody else knows, or maybe you should just bring one anyway. That can be kind of fun. You need to bring more than one pair of gloves because they can get wet. You don't need super thick like ski gloves necessarily, because your hands are going to get really warm while you're skiing along with the rest of you. But you do need more than one pair. So socks and gloves, lots of, or as many as you have space for. You'll want to bring a backpack or a knapsack or something like that to carry things into the Nordic Center, including some extra gloves and socks. You'll want to have a water bottle or a hydration pack if you prefer that. And then Melinda mentioned the banquet. Some people like to really dress up for the banquet and treat it like a real dress-up banquet. Others don't dress up as much. We maybe bring a nice sweater. If you have a Norwegian sweater, that's good for the Norway night, which is usually the night before. But it's up to you and whatever your comfort level is. But most of us do dress a little bit nicer on Saturday banquet night than we do other nights. Snow Mountain Ranch does have a swimming pool. So if you're interested in doing that activity, you'll want to bring a swimsuit. You'll want to bring sunglasses, even if you are blind. There's a lot of reflective sun that comes off the white snow. and it is physically hard on your eyes. So sunglasses are a really good idea. You'll want to bring chapstick or lip balm or something like that, because you get dried out when you're out there in the sun in the cold. And I can tell you from my experience, you want to bring lots of, especially if your skin tends to be dry, you want to bring lots of lotion, body lotion and face lotion, etc. You'll want to bring sunscreen for the same reason. It's usually sunny, unlike where I normally ski in the Cascades, where it's usually cloudy. But in Colorado, it's usually sunny and it's usually bright. And then for getting around Snow Mountain Ranch between the lodges, you'll want to make sure you have a pair of shoes or boots that you can walk through light snow. They keep the pathways pretty clear, so it's not like you're going to be walking through 2 feet of snow, but there could be 2 or 3 inches. So you'll want to be prepared for that. Even if you're a guide dog user, you might want to bring a cane with you so that you can do short trips. Like at the Nordic Center, you won't have your dog at all. So that's nice to have a cane with you. And here's the most important thing of all. You want to bring the phone number for your transportation coordinator. And he is Bob Hart. You can either call or text any sort of problems that arise during your transportation, like if your flight has been changed and your arrival time is going to be different and you're going to miss the bus or something like that happens. So I'm sure that numbers, well, the number is on the transportation form, but I'll also say it here. It's 703-851-8149. And he asks that you please be sure to include your name. So if you're leaving him a frantic message, make sure that he knows who is leaving that frantic message. All right, I think that's all for me. Oh, wait, one more thing, or maybe a couple. So just as another reminder, I know I've sent reminders out, but payment is due for everyone by December 1st. I have received quite a few payments, and thank you very much to those of you who have already paid. If you have any questions or any concerns, please feel free to email me at the Ski for Light coordinator, SFL coordinator email address that you have, or you're welcome to call me as well. And all of you have my phone number as well. So that's all for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sherry. That's great information. And that December 1st date is around the corner already. And it will be really helpful to know, to have your money, of course, but to know for sure that you're planning on coming. We all know that life happens and sometimes circumstances change and you're not able to go. So keep that information flowing to Sherry as well. We have more visually impaired people who applied than have been accepted at this point. So we do have a waiting list, and we're working really hard to match the guide numbers with the skier numbers so that they match well. So the more information Sherry can have on this end to help line up those numbers, the better. So
Thank you, Melinda. That's very true.
yes, great. Okay, well, I would like to just open it up now and see who has questions, who's been listening and thinking, wow, I never knew that, or, oh, they forgot to mention this. So Jim's going to kind of look for raised hands and call on people. And then you can unmute and ask.
So we've got Melissa, got a question?
Yes, hi everyone. This is Melissa Reyna. I'm from Houston and I will be attending for the first time.
Yay.
So I'm looking forward to it. It was very entertaining to listen to that audio piece. It was wonderful actually. And thank you, Sherry, for that information as well that I just got. So my question is, when do we actually find out who we will be rooming with and where we will be staying? Will it be after everyone has the deadline is met?
Sherry, do
So,
you know the
yeah,
answer? Yeah.
so are you asking that personally? Because I know you and I have talked about rooming.
Yes. Oh yeah,
So-
no, and yeah, definitely. But
Yeah,
I had a friend.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I
so
had
you're
a-
asking in
I-
general. So,
Yes.
so many of you have specified a roommate, and that certainly makes it much easier for us because then we don't have to try to figure out who's going to room best with whom. But if you have not, then I don't, this is my first year doing this, so I'm not positive how all of the rooming decisions are made, but the person that is in charge of that primarily is Nancy Milstad, and I don't think she's on the call. So she has a lot to do with it. Tim, of course, as our president. Mike Ivalo is our event chair. So there are several people involved. But yes,
Okay.
it will be, those of you who don't have roommates yet will be finding out, I think, closer to the event. So.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Yes, this is Tim. The roommate, Nancy will do the final roommate matching in January once we have, well, the numbers will change, but she will be doing that in January. So the final assignments will take place then.
And welcome, Melissa. Melissa may or may not be joining the Houston contingent, who we call the Houstonians. There's like a ton of them that come from Texas every year.
It's so
And so
exciting.
be sure to bring your red hat because they all wear red hats and they make a lot of noise at dinner. And they're full of enthusiasm, which
Yes.
is so
Well,
welcome. So
That's crazy
Melissa
because my
fits
colors
right
were
in.
going to be red. Yes, my colors are going to be red and black anyway. So that's crazy to know
There
that.
you go.
Thank you.
good. That's great.
Okay, next up we have Sharon Kim.
Okay.
Sharon, you want to?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, hi. Okay, so I'm a first time participant as well. I love that audio recording, by the way, because that first part sounds just like me. So my question is, you had mentioned like whether you'd be in attendance to let Sherry know. So should we notify you if we are attending or just if we are not attending?
No, just if you are not.
Oh, okay, because I wasn't sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, if you are attending, you will have sent money. And
Correct.
then you will know you're serious.
Then I will know. Yes.
Great.
Doug Powell.
Oh, yay.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Doug.
Yeah.
Question about COVID. How are the arrangements for dinner and especially lunch going to be? Are they going to be different than usual? And are we going to be carrying masks with us to put on at lunchtime and all that kind of stuff?
This is Tim. I'll handle that one. So masks will be required in the Schlesman Commons building, which is where lunch and dinner will be eaten. So masks will be required when you're not seated.
Breakfast.
In the Nordic Center, that will be the same. So you'll be required to wear a mask when you're in the Nordic Center, but not seated. There will be options to have boxed meals at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So if somebody really wants to eat apart, we will be able to accommodate that.
But the seating arrangements are going to be similar to previous years?
Yes, they will be.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Doug.
Any more questions? Jim?
Terry Nettles.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Hi,
good.
Sherry.
Okay, hey, I'm a first timer also. I'm excited and
Yay. Well, wait a minute. You were at our virtual event.
that's
You're
true,
not
but
timer.
the first time skiing. Let's put
That
it that
totally
way.
counts.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
Sherry,
what
you
I
and I
mean.
can be nervous together. Sorry.
That's
everyone.
right. There you go. And so my one question is, how long does it, because I've not been to Colorado, how long does it take to get used to the altitude? And then are there ways to help with that? Like, is there any suggestions of what we can do to prepare to the altitude?
Excellent, excellent
It is-
question.
That's a really good question. And I think a lot of us can address that.
Because I'm in Maryland on the East Coast, so I'm not that high above sea level.
This is Melinda. I'll throw out a couples and then Sherry and Tim can add to it. And Dr. Carl Hein is a guide who skis with us, and he's kind of our medical consultant, and he's going to be providing more information about this as it gets closer to. And so in general, it takes a couple days, but it's different for everybody. The number one recommendation is drink lots of water. Drink lots and lots and lots of water.
And does that also mean before we come as well?
Yeah, a couple days before helps too.
Okay.
Yeah. Avoid alcohol,
Well, I don't worry
avoid
about that.
caffeine.
Okay.
And try and get as much rest as you can.
Okay.
And pace yourself a little bit at the beginning. And that's really hard to do at Ski for Light because it's so fun and so exciting. You want to dive into everything. So Tim, Sherry, do you have more to add to that?
I would just add, I agree that it's usually Wednesday before I start feeling like I'm kind of normal again. So it takes me a bit longer maybe.
So
than
what does it
some
feel
folks.
like? What are some of your
So that's good question. And again, it differs from person to person.
Okay.
For me and for a lot of folks, it means a bad headache. So
okay.
You might want to bring some Tylenol just to help out with that, or ibuprofen, whatever you take. For some folks, it can mean
sleeping is another.
Difficulty sleeping. Some folks have.
Would you say sleeping?
Difficulty sleeping.
Oh, difficulty. Oh, okay.
So some people have some nausea. Everyone feels the fatigue. That's
okay.
I don't think there's any human out there that doesn't when you've got that sort of altitude difference. So if you're feeling like you weigh twice as much as your normal weight, that's pretty normal to feel that way for the first couple of days.
And then when you go back to the altitude that you're used to, once we get home, there's no problem. Okay.
You feel like you could run a marathon after skiing at altitude.
All righty. Well, thank you so much. And
Julie,
I'm looking
do you have
forward
any more
to
to
it.
add? I forgot Julie was on the
No,
line.
I think that's all. I do know some people do. This is one event where some people do intentionally come a little early. I don't know if we want to put that out publicly to everybody, but some people do arrange to come to Denver maybe the day before, spend the night at the Denver airport, and then come up with the group the next day. That way you're acclimating to the altitude a little more gradually. That's a strategy if people have that flexibility. Some people do that. But honestly, I've gone a bunch of times. I usually have a hard time sleeping the first night. I definitely avoid drinking the first night or two, which is hard because we're all together. We want to have fun, but definitely, as long as I do that, I do fine. But yeah, it is different for everyone.
And this is Melinda.
If you know you're susceptible, coming maybe a day early, spending the night in Denver before coming up the mountain can be helpful as well.
Okay, we've got a question from Kate Lawson.
Hold on, before we get off of that, this is Doug. I've taken, I've consulted with my physician and gotten some medication, and I've actually forgotten the name of it, that you start a couple days before and you take for a couple days, so it's 4 or 5 days that you take it, starting 2 days before you go up. And I've kind of had mixed results with that. Not as super beneficial as I thought it might be. So that's probably going to be coming out with Carl's suggestions also. But certainly consult with your physician before you do anything like that.
Thanks, Doug.
Back to
Okay,
Kate Lawson.
Kate?
Hi, super important question here. Will there be yoga in the morning?
Tim?
Yeah, there'll be yeah, we will have the stretching sessions, yes.
So it's not officially yoga, but it is stretching sessions.
Yeah.
And for all the newbies, that's a kind of crack of dawn before breakfast, half hour, I think, and different Ski for Light participants have taken turns leading that, but it's a great way to do injury prevention and stretch and get ready for the day.
And that's something else that you can do ahead of time. So on our this is Julie Copen speaking, on our Ski for Light YouTube channel, we have, because we had our virtual event last year, a lot of the programming that we offered during that was recorded, preserved, and put out on the YouTube. So there is an audio class that is very much like what the morning stretch class is like with Nino. Marie Piccini has a very well described audio yoga class that you can do on your own at home before you even come to Ski for Light. So if you just want to get a sense, like, is this worth getting up early? Is this something I like? You can check out all those videos on our YouTube channel. We have a whole playlist that is just the fitness programming that we offered last year during the virtual event. So you can just try them all out, see what works for you, add that to your regular routine. But yoga and stretching is definitely part of that.
This is Karen Wood. We're going to have 2 people doing stretching in the morning. Doug Powell's going to be doing it at Aspen Brook, and Marie Piccini is going to be doing it at Indian Peaks.
That's wonderful. So that'll help with, kind of spreading people out as well, creating
right.
distance. So
Doug Powell's on this call. He's been talking to us, so you'll know his voice.
He's got an exercise class on our YouTube channel as well, which you should all try. It's great.
Question from Jesse's iPhone. I don't know if Jesse has a question, but Jesse's iPhone has a question.
Yeah, my iPhone is very excited to ask its question. I'm sorry if this was already covered. I was dealing with my cat who's being a brat. But I was just wondering a little more about the bus schedule. It looks like, because at one time I've read, quote, the bus, and then other times I've read the first bus. So I didn't know if, like, my inbound gets in at like 10:30 in the morning, and then my outbound doesn't leave till 5:30 in the evening on Sunday. So I didn't know if, like, I should just, because you're supposed to get there, quote, no later than 1:30, but if you're there so early that you're waiting for like 3.5 hours or whatever, like, would those times make it just as easy to, book the van instead? Or how does the bus schedule work?
This is Tim, and it depends on your arrival day. But if you're arriving on Sunday, there may be 2 buses going up. It all depends on the number of people that are arriving in any one day. There is a home James service that an individual can take up to Snow Mountain Ranch. It's not inexpensive, I believe. Last time I checked, it was is $90, but it could be more than that. And then on Sunday getaway day that I call it, on February 6th, there will be multiple buses leaving in the morning, but they were, so some of them will leave early, around 6 in the morning, but they won't leave really late in the day, because we really do want to get folks out of Granby and into Denver so that they can catch a morning or flights after 10 in the morning and into the mid-afternoon.
The transportation coordinator will be putting that together. He needs lots of praise to take on a job like that, because he has to take everybody's flight schedules and lay out all the times and figure out who's going to be there when, to figure out when people can fill a bus, and when a bus is full, then it can take off and he can schedule the next bus. So he's got to do all that ahead of time so people know what bus they're on what time. So there may or may not be an earlier one depending on how many people will be arriving earlier. So you will know before January 30th for sure, but we got to have everyone turn in their flight times and their transportation plans, and then he'll be able to figure that out.
This is when flexibility comes in really handy. Just be flexible and be prepared to sit and read a book if you need to, and just be flexible, and it'll work out.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Judy Potter.
Because I said, sorry, I saw on the form that you had to specify whether you were taking the van or planning to, or whether you'd be taking the bus. And I'm thinking, well, I'd like to take the bus, but I don't know if, that's okay if I'm just going to be sitting like, I wasn't sure if I should say whether I was going to be on the bus or not.
Yeah, Jesse, this is Julie. I would go ahead and request the van or the bus. Say you want the group transportation, and then if you're looking at it, you're like, oh, I don't want to sit around for 5 hours. I'd rather pay the $90 and get a ride or whatever. You can let them know that the week before or something. But
Okay.
It's good. It helps us to know who would like to have the shared transportation.
Yeah.
But you can opt out, not the day of, but ahead of time. But you can opt out if you want to.
Judy Potter, did you want to say something?
Hi, yes.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. I just came
Judy.
in really late. I wondered, is there going to be a recording of this meeting?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. It's good to see everybody.
Good to see you, Judy. Yeah, we have the recording, and we're gonna kind of edit out some of the technical glitches, and we'll make it available on our YouTube page, and then and we'll send it out to the list. So friends of yours who weren't able to join, or if you missed the first part, you'll get to hear it all. So good question.
Thank you.
Carrie, did you have another question?
Yes, I do. Sorry. Okay, so okay, regarding the backpack, for example, is the backpack being left somewhere at the Nordic Center, or are we having to wear it? That's one part of my question. And go ahead, and then I'll ask the other
I
part.
was just going to say many folks do wear a small backpack while they're skiing. I personally don't. I usually have a larger fanny pack or something so that I can take what I absolutely need. But then I don't usually ski more than a 5K. So I know I'm never very far from the lodge. So yes, you can leave your pack at the Nordic Center.
Okay, and then
It's
if I
helpful to have some water with you somehow.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was going to ask.
That's the important
Do we
part.
carry like a water bottle
Yes.
with us, so like I can use a fanny pack for that, and then like put chapstick and more sunscreen and that kind of thing while we're out skiing? Okay, thank you.
And this is Barry, and there are cubby holes at the Nordic Center to leave backpacks and extra coats while you're skiing.
Good point.
Are there more questions?
This is
Jim?
Doug, talking about being at the airport. Quite often there are other participants who have arrived at about the same time you have. So even if you're pretty early, you can hang out and get to know some people and that kind of thing. And I think in the past, I'm assuming that it'll be the same this year. The members of the Sons of Norway is a volunteer group who actually are a bunch of sighted folks who come out and sort of help people get to the area and help out and talk with people and all that kind of stuff. So you're pretty well taken care of regardless of how long you have to wait for the bus.
Well, it's almost 9 o'clock. Jim, do we have other raised hands?
Melissa R.
Okay.
Just a quick question. How does renting equipment work? Your snow skis and things like that. How does that work?
So the rentals are at the Nordic Center, and usually people will take care of that first thing Monday morning. So your first hour or so is going to be spent getting your rental equipment. But they do have everything that you need there, and it's pretty decent equipment.
You'll work that out with your guide to go together over to the Nordic Center, and that'll be, the first duty. They're really good and used to helping out. The Nordic Center staff is.
They're very organized.
Yes, it goes pretty quickly.
Thank you.
And we've got a question from a person on the phone with last name of 2009.
Tom. Yeah, Tom from DC. Thanks. Quick question for people with guide dogs. Does the dog just stay untied down in the room while we're skiing?
Yes, we have people who come in usually from other guide dog schools or from the guide dog schools, and so those of us who want them to, they can walk our dogs while we're away, and of course they accompany us the rest of the time, just not when we're skiing.
You help save more lives than any other home security brand.
Great, thank you.
Sharon had another question.
Yeah, hi. Okay, so I drink tremendous amounts of water. It's insane. It's partially a medical condition. In fact, it's mostly a medical condition. Tremendous amounts of water. So one water bottle just will not cut anything. Can we buy water bottles while we're at the thing, like actual bottles of water, or like, because I hope we can, because life is not going to be good for me if we can't.
Yes, there are water bottles. There is water for sale at the Nordic Center.
Okay, great.
But we would encourage, we do try to minimize our environmental impact. So if you're able to bring a couple of reusable water bottles that you can just refill through the day, that's awesome. I also bring my reusable coffee thermos that I use when I, for my job. So I bring that with me, and I use that for my coffee so that we're not using a lot of disposables. But,
yeah, I will try and do that. It's just I drink tremendous, like literally one day, not even a day, I'm going through like 6-7 water bottles. So
yeah, and our trails loop around close to the Nordic Center, so you'll be able to like go ski for a kilometer, come back to the Nordic Center, fill up your water bottle, go back out. You can do that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Terry?
Yes, and then also for like the ski rentals and for anything else, do they all accept credit cards?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we don't really need, is there a need to bring like cash or a bunch of cash, or can we just do it everything through credit card? Like, don't they have a little room where they sell things also, a store or something?
Yes.
Yeah,
I would like just
Go ahead, Tim.
Snow Mountain Ranch. They do have I think it's called the Buckboard Corral or something. Anyway, so they do have a store where they sell some snacks, some knickknacks. They're trying to go to a cashless environment, so they would look more favorable on people bringing credit cards. But I always travel with cash just to be safe.
Okay, and then
need cash to tip people at the airport.
Right. Yes.
Okay, and then do you tip? And how does it work for the rooms? Do we make our own beds, right? It's not like being in a hotel where they come in and clean the room and stuff, correct?
There will be a maid service or housekeeping service once every 3 days at the event.
Okay, and then do we just leave them a tip as well?
Yes.
Okay, and then so is there also like a thing where Ski for Light has their own things that they sell as well there? Do they have their own little, I don't know what you want to call it, but like they
we did. I don't know if we are this year.
Yeah,
okay.
We're planning to have a sales room.
Okay, sales room.
Yeah, so it'll have a limited variety of t-shirts and ski gear or clothing, candy and whatnot. It's not, we keep the inventory small, but we will have that this year, yes.
And then the auction also, when you is there going to be an auction?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So how do you pay for that?
Credit cards work.
Okay.
Yeah, we prefer credit cards, but we
Okay,
will take
good.
a check.
And if you do have cash, sometimes you may find a guide that's going to be running into town to a store to get some
Oh, I
snacks,
see.
or
Yes.
maybe some beverages. And so, you may want to say, hey, would you mind grabbing me this or that? And you might need some cash for that.
Okay, so I hate to keep asking all these questions, but next year I won't have to ask. But anyway, how much cash would you say would be good? Like several hundred, or
So,
No, I wouldn't bring more than 100. That's
Okay.
me personally.
right. Okay, I just wanted to be
Yeah,
sure.
I would agree.
Yeah. Okay, and I'll just bring like smaller bills and stuff, so it'll be
Yeah,
easier to make change.
exactly.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Terry.
This has been great.
Thank you.
Tim, this is Karen Wood. On the housekeeping, in the past at Colorado, the maids would not go into the rooms where the guide dogs were. Is that the case this year? Do you know?
yeah, that's still going to be the case. I mean,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, but there will be towels and washcloths out in the
Yeah.
hall that we
yeah,
can get. Okay.
there'll be laundry carts with clean towels and clean, toilet tissue and
Okay.
laundry carts where people can swap out their towels for new towels.
Okay.
This is Sherry. One quick thing I thought of. They do provide soap and shampoo. It's not very good quality and it dries my skin terribly. So if you care about that, you'll want to bring your own toiletries.
That reminds me, Sherry, for new people, the air there is very, very, very dry. So you want to have lotion because my skin gets so dry when I'm there. It's just really, really dry. So
yeah,
keep that in mind.
I also bring a little, got it at Bed Bath & Beyond. It's a little vaporizer humidifier that you take a water bottle and screw it in upside down and the water drips out and it poofs it out in the air. And I love it.
Great idea.
I used to be Melinda's roommate and I can testify that it's pretty cute.
It's not too noisy either, is it, Karen?
Nope.
How are we doing with questions, Jim?
Kate's got her hand up again.
Okay.
I just wanted to know, will snowshoeing be available to those who want to do that?
The Nordic Center, if I recall correctly, does have snowshoes that you can rent. So it's an extra cost, but I know I have rented them there for an afternoon.
Yeah, and that's something you can negotiate with your guide. If you've skied for a few days and you just want to try something different, maybe the two of you want to try snowshoeing that day, so you can, do that. But it's something that you do at your own expense and kind of outside the regular Ski for Light program.
Positive impact on lives of others. Office manager Tammy Chang has nothing but.
Question
Okay,
from
thank
Don.
you.
Question from Don Lee.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Barbara Blinsky. I'm using Dawn's account. I wanted to ask, for people who are traveling out of the country when we leave, I know the rules are changing all the time, but is there any plan for how we could be able to go get our COVID test a couple of days before it's time to go? If that's needed.
Tim, can you answer that, or do you want me to?
Well, we haven't made official plans to accommodate that, but there are COVID testing sites within a drivable distance from Snow Mountain Ranch. So this would be one we'd have to organize and then find a local volunteer that'd be willing to drive folks to the testing spot.
Yeah, and I'm anticipating that will happen because there will be, a small number of people that will need it. So.
Thank you.
Great question.
Joe Cooler.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, hi Joe.
Hello, everyone. I just want to know, is we gonna be able to go tubing there this year again?
I can answer that. Mike asked me to check on that. Yeah, the tubing hill will be open. It's first come, first serve.
Okay.
I'll
We're
go tubing
also-
with you, Joe.
Okay.
We're,
How you
we're
doing?
also, we also, Ski for Light has reserved all the spots on the dog sledding on Thursday and Friday. So if people want to experience dog sledding, there'll be more information about it later. But
Okay.
basically you'll go to the Nordic Center and sign up for a time slot in a day. And then you can go out and experience dog sledding. We did it my first year. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's at your own expense too.
It's at
Yes.
your own expense. Yeah.
It's like the cruise ship extra excursions. That's great.
Well, wouldn't you all say, Melinda and Sherry, that one of the really cool things about being at Snow Mountain Ranch is that they have some of these other winter activities, or if you want to go to the pool, you know, there's just a lot more there, and we're staying right there. So if you want to pack it in and do lots of fun stuff, you know, it's really a great location for that. It's designed for family fun, and we are a family and we have fun. So I hope encourage everybody
Yeah.
to try everything.
That's a great way to say it. There really is a lot to do. You will not be bored.
And the focus of Ski for Light has been cross-country skiing from its beginning. So that's why we build everything around that. And that's our primary activity, but there's those other options are there for you to go ahead and explore. If you would like to, if we tried to coordinate all of those activities, it makes my head spin just thinking about it. But I know even my sister and I think Kate went horseback riding one year.
Cool. Yeah, I went fat bike riding with my blind skier. He had some vision, so he could sort of see where we were going, but we did fat biking on the snow, which is like the thick tires, and we had a blast. So that's another option.
Or you can take a nap.
Yeah.
Oh,
I second
biathlon.
it.
Are we doing biathlon this year, Tim?
No, we're not.
Not. Okay. All right. Well, maybe next time we'll do that.
Any more questions, Jim?
I don't think so.
I don't want to like rush out the questions, but I know we're kind of over time and people may have other things they need to get at. So thank you all so much. How many people did we have Zooming in?
Oh, 42.
Wow.
42. Yay.
That's like half our number up almost. Not quite 40% or so.
This was a great idea, you guys. I'm so glad you did it. And I think it would be a good idea for every year.
We may do another one in January. I don't want to make any promises, but that would be kind of last minute stuff. But if you do have questions between now and then, reach out. You all just call Sherry. No, just kidding. Sherry,
Thanks
Sherry
a lot.
pass it on to the rest of us as well. So thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. And I would love to hear some feedback, whether this was helpful for you newbies or overwhelming. And I hope you got to witness some of the enthusiasm of the group, and we're excited to help you join the family. So we'll see you in January.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks, everybody.